Greetings, New
Great.
Orleans. Once again, I'm Jamar McKneely, CEO of InspireNOLA Charter Schools, here to welcome you to another wonderful guest, Miss Meagan Good, who's in town to inspire the city, to inspire our students. Once again, we do this for the numerous students who cannot make it to the engagements that we do, just so you can have a snapshot of just some inspiration, some conversation to hear from some wonderful speakers, some people who are here to brighten our city with some joy, hope, and inspiration. So
Amen.
thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, just
Amen.
like we've asked you numerous times, and I think it's important that our students hear this, and it's a question that I've led with many times. What inspires you?
What inspires me is being able to use what God has so graciously allowed me to have to give back. To make sure that we all feel seen, that we make sure that we all feel valued, that we understand that um, as individuals, we are so very needed. And as collectives, we are paramount to connecting with each other. And I believe that everybody has an individual purpose, but I also believe that our collective purpose is all connected to each other. And so, um, being able to just give back and hopefully inspire others is what inspires me.
Ms. Washington, always a pleasure to have you part of the conversation. McDonogh 35 student, a junior. I'll ask you the same question. What inspires you as we do this?
Um, I I believe what inspires me is my next generation behind me. Starting as a junior at McDonogh 35, I see a lot of things, and I want to see change. Basically, I want to make sure that my change are felt and seen,
Mhm.
and I just want to be a part of the change as well. So those behind me and in front of me inspire me.
Got it. We're going to start with you. First
You
question.
doing that. By the way, you
You're
are doing that
definitely
though.
doing that.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys. So, how do you hope black girls, like, what do you hope black girls take away from your journey and do you show up in the world?
I show up in the world authentic, unapologetic, um, loving myself and learning to love myself more and more, um, intentionally growing, intentionally checking myself and asking myself certain questions, and just wanting to be on a journey that is one of being the best version of me. So that I can be that for anybody else that I get to come in contact with. And I hope that young black women take away from my journey that their authenticity is needed, and them exactly who they are is so needed. And I said this earlier, there's nobody in the world that's like you, and nobody can be you. And that's why we need specifically you. And also, they always say the comment like everyone else is taken, and it's true. You are going to win the most. You are going to be the most happiest. You're going to be the most at peace when you authentically walk in alignment with who you are, and are open to constantly discovering who that is without apologizing for all of your quirks and your size and your skin, and like those are the most beautiful things about you. And so leaning into that, and then also the most beautiful things inside you.
I know you've been talking a lot about your faith and purpose and
Yeah,
a higher calling to this world and
absolutely.
this life, and especially in your community. Uh, what does faith mean to you, and how has it guided you throughout your journey?
Well, faith has sustained me through every single season. Because, I mean, as we know, every season of life is just crazy, especially right now with the president.
Yeah.
Anyway, but having that faith and trusting God, and understanding that even in trusting God, things aren't always going to look the way that you think they should look,
Correct.
but you have to know that God is faithful consistently. And just having faith as like not just the base, but like the anchor of everything that I build on is what helps me navigate, is what brings me back to reality, is what gives me peace when certain things are out of my control, is what lets me know I'm going to win no matter what. And it's not predicated on how good or perfect I am, it's predicated on me being after God's heart and doing the best that I can do, and knowing that I am going to fall short consistently. And that's okay. And so that is what allows me to grow in self-love, allows me to grow in self-growth, and understand that. And so yeah.
And as Mr. McNeely said, you often talk about purpose and walking in your truth, right? But what does that look like in your everyday life? Like,
Mm.
how can, that be seen from you?
I think it's just, goes back to authenticity. People can tell the difference, when you're walking something out and it's not really who you are, or you're walking out an idea or trying to live by a standard that maybe you don't necessarily believe in, versus um, really believing what you say and really meaning what you do and really loving who you are and growing to love who you are. I feel like that's the way you show it every day. It's just how you show up and how you treat people and how you talk to people and how you present yourself and what you have the audacity to believe you can accomplish, and how you articulate that and how you set that example and how you take in someone else's example, and all of that. So I don't think it's like a overall thing. I think it is a day by day, moment to moment. And the only thing that's overall about it is it's just the essence of who you are.
I know we asking some pointy questions, some purposeful questions, but a lot of people don't understand. Like you're human, like the rest of us. Like you
Yeah.
have downtime,
Right.
you have fun times, right?
Yes.
What do you like to do for fun? Like
Karaoke.
so you can sing.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I
but
can
when you
hold a tune.
but when you go to that karaoke song and you could pick from numerous songs, what's that song that
I
you
want to
actually
dance
pick?
with somebody.
Oh,
Whitney
I
Houston.
had a standing
It's either
ovation to that song when I was
period. Can you
younger.
sing?
No.
Oh, but that's all right though.
How did
But
you
you
get the
believed
standing
it.
ovation?
So I was actually in a restaurant, O. Henry's at the time,
Okay.
Nice.
and I was 2 years old, and I was singing "I Want to Dance with Somebody"
So
while I was
cute.
waiting while my parents was waiting for a table, and
Yeah.
so the restaurant saw me, and I had a standing ovation from everybody in the
Oh
restaurant.
my
Wow.
goodness. That's so
And
cute.
I'm aware that from a physical standpoint,
Mhm.
health and wellness is extremely important to
Yes.
you.
Yes.
How often you work out?
5 days a week.
5 days, personal trainer, or you just go for yourself?
Jonathan's my personal trainer.
So, knowing that both of you, and I definitely got to highlight, there's definitely a wonderful smile when you say Jonathan's name.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see it resonate.
Yeah.
Two questions, just ironic, and I followed his career, and definitely a mainstream wonderful actor who,
Yeah.
when he's in scenes, definitely is important. And I've just watched all of
Yes.
it. Who do you think when it comes to just acting?
Yeah.
Right? Like we've seen you act, I've seen him.
Yeah.
What do you take away from him as far as being a actress, and what do you think he takes away from you? Because I know he's in a household. As I see the
Yeah.
smile, y'all learning from each other.
Right.
Yes.
So, what do you think when it comes to that career and the motivation of hey,
Yeah.
being married now? Hey, we about to do this together. We building
Yeah.
something together.
Yeah.
What do you take?
Um, well, Jonathan's my favorite actor. I think he
Favorite
is.
film? If you had to say his favorite film,
Oh, Magazine Dreams.
Magazine Dreams. I bet
Magazine
you a lot
Dreams
of
is
I was
incredible.
I was astonished on just how low he went
Yes.
to play in that role.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen it probably 7 times. And after the first time I turned it off, I was like, this is crazy. Like I kept turning the movie, like,
correct.
because I was watching it before it came out, so kept pausing it. I would sit there and I'm like, hold on, let me just process that. That's crazy. Um, what I learned from him is, because I've been doing it so long, I've literally been doing it 40 years, and seriously about 30 years. And so I'm always like amped to learn. Um, but because I have such a great respect for him and the way that he's approached the craft and what he's given to it and how good he is, both by natural ability and also by the work he's put in, what I get is, whereas, we talked about earlier, like I ventured into directing, it's because I've never lost passion for acting. But having done it so long, it was a natural progression for me to go, okay, good, I'm done with the hair and makeup. I don't want to do it. Like, I want to just carry the crown. I don't actually need to wear it all the time. And I think that Jonathan has reinvigorated some of the things that I was excited about with acting, and has created new things that I'm excited about with acting that I just didn't see before. And because I've been doing it for so long, I was like, and then I think that with him, there's such a purity. He's been doing it for about 10 years now. And we came from two completely different worlds,
Correct.
where I started at 4, he started when he got out of college. I mean, he was doing it in college, but ultimately it's two completely different routes. So I have a certain amount of street smart in the industry and in the world and in Hollywood, but I'm also, that mixed with being very, very Christian, but also being like, okay, here's how. I navigate this as a woman where there's no compromise of integrity, this or that. And then him coming from Texas and having a totally different experience and upbringing, and then going through the school and all of that, and then coming into it the way that he has, the world's just merry, where I can be very relaxed and very much someone who grew up in it, and he'll be very, very intense and serious. And I teach him to relax a bit and enjoy and be more present. He teaches me to be more serious and to lean in and to be more present in a different way. And so it's really fun because it's just two completely different perspectives. But to me, he watched me as a little boy. I'm 8 years older than Jonathan.
Got it.
So there's tremendous respect on both sides for different reasons and different experiences with it. But it's really fun to
Yeah,
explore that together.
yeah, I'm laughing internally, and it's important that I call this out. It's just important, and it's just good to know that
Yeah.
a Southern country boy can still win the big city, right?
Period.
How we look at this, or how we say
Period.
this, a Southern country boy can still
Yeah,
thrive in the big city and land
absolutely.
Yeah.
like that. So shout out to the
Yeah.
country boys who still are there.
It's a different breed,
It's a,
baby.
I'm a
Get you
country boy.
one.
Say it
Get you
again.
one. Period.
It's a different
It's a
conversation. It's a
different
different
breed,
swag. The
baby.
country. So stay country. That's important, right? We got to
Absolutely.
say
Stay
that.
authentic
Stay
because
authentic.
authenticity is how you win.
Thank you
Yeah.
for
And
that.
I just I love every bit of every single part of him, and all of that is a part of it.
Got
So
it.
I adore that. I look up and I'll be like, that is leaking. He's like, don't worry, I'm gonna go to the thing, get the thing, fix it. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. And he'd just go to Home Depot and go fix the friggin'. And it's just but it's just all facets of culturally how he's grown up, how his mom raised him, how he speaks, how he approaches things, his mindset, um, being a handyman, all of it.
So what I'm
So
hearing you also say is we need to get him to New Orleans. So B
I'm just
Mike
saying.
Studio Boo, we got to get
Yeah.
both of you back in
But
New
he knows
Orleans.
New Orleans. Like
And
we
I
were
see
here
the
for Essence, and he was taking me around to the restaurants.
well, and I see a look
Yeah.
that's coming from the side. Like, look, I told you. So we're gonna make it happen, right? I see it. We're gonna all make this work together.
Yeah.
But what's your question? What you have next?
I would say, how do you handle criticisms in
Yeah.
moments when people doubt you?
It's been a journey to get to a place of it doesn't matter, and it took me a long time to get there. And I talked about this earlier
Hmm.
today, but the short version is criticisms and judgments and being misunderstood used to really really hurt me. It used to actually really break my heart, and I would cry about it, and I would just take it in, and I'd be like, why, why does this person think this about me or think that, and like that's a character I play, that's not who I am, or whatever it is. And and then when social media really got big, I was able to kind of like defend myself if I wanted to, and I made it a point to always do it in love, and and with a God bless you. And of course, I'm guilty of sometimes being like, and God bless you, but but I always try to keep it classy. But at the end of the day, I was defending myself, and I was giving a lot of energy to it. And I went through this experience where this esthetician, in essence, bleached my skin,
Mm.
and it was traumatizing. And she kept lying about the process, and then I was getting dragged on the internet, and people really thought I was bleaching my skin. And when I was trying to correct it, it made it worse. And by the grace of God, COVID happened right after that. But I was praying, and in that prayer time, I was just like, Lord, like, why? Why is this happening to me at 38 years old? This is crazy. Or 39, I don't know how old I was. But point is, um, as I was crying, I realized that it was an answered prayer.
Mm.
I had been praying for 7 years to stop worrying about what people thought about me and to stop taking that on. And I realized that in this moment, I was pushed so far to the brink. My back was so against the wall. I could not defend myself. If I got online and looked how I was looking, they'd be like, mm-hmm, sure, girl. And so there was nothing I could do. There was absolutely nothing I could do. And there was no guarantee that my skin was ever going to come back. So I had to accept that people who want to give me the benefit of the doubt will, and people who don't want to. And that's got nothing to do with me. And that's not, um, ultimately, that's more a representation of their traumas and their things than it is of me. And anybody who is willing to give me the benefit of the doubt, that's my tribe. And that's something to be thankful for. But I can't be focused on the other thing because ultimately I have to move on with my life. And if I'm stuck that way and that is my life, I still have to find joy, peace, figure out my career, figure out my love. Like I have to still be happy in the skin that I now have. And so, yeah, as soon as I accepted that and I was like, got it, then my skin started coming back,
Hmm.
which is great. And it's taken about 4 years to even get this much color, but hopefully I'll get all of my color back. But it's been a process, and I actually thank God for like the experience, even though it was traumatizing, because it was the only way that I was going to get free of what people thought of me was when I have no choice. And then when I got on the other side of that, I was like, this is crazy because I really don't care. Like, I love people and I care in the spirit of like, if something that I'm doing is causing something negative for you, like in the spirit of if there's a little black girl thinking that I actually bleached my skin and she thinks that that is the way to say that you're beautiful now, yes, that upsets me. But beyond that, nobody else's opinion of me matters but God's. And the moment that I got that free, my life got so much better when I tell you. And I
Peace.
and I couldn't even been prepared for what was coming. I had no idea I was getting ready to go through a divorce right after that. I had no idea I was gonna be where I was in that year and a half after that. I had no idea me and Jonathan were gonna get together and that we were gonna go through what we went through. I had no idea what was ahead of me. But if I had not gone through that, there's no way I could have weathered what was coming. And not only did I weather what was coming, I have been the most free and the most happy and the most light in those times than I was even before that. So,
It gave you an amount of peace that you
yeah,
would have never imagined you would have
yeah,
had. That's good.
yeah,
So when you see yourself thriving, you see
yeah,
yourself in this season, as you mentioned, and go into
yeah.
Ecclesiastes. There's a time in for everything.
Amen.
With the understanding of what's next, like I see the hat, I see
Yes.
you just talked about directing, but what should we expect in the next couple of years, even from maybe a partnership with New Orleans, doing something in New
Would
Orleans,
love that.
uh, on film? What's next?
A lot. Um, a lot. It, building out the family, more film. Jonathan and I working together in film, not just in front of the camera, behind the camera. Honor culture being built out. That's our kind of number one thing together, where it's legacy for us. It's what we live by, who we are, what we care about. We want to be in great health and great shape and all those things that our bodies can take us everywhere God wants us to go for the rest of our lives. We're trying to where I don't know where she is, but Miss what's her name that's 85 years old. I'm like, that's what I'm
Miss
trying
Miss
to
Pryor,
Pryor.
yes,
Miss
she's
Pryor,
Miss
that's what I'm trying to
Pryor.
do, okay? And
Yes.
she a Leo, so she's a double queen. I'm
And
gonna
then
go
she didn't
to
beat
so
breast cancer. She beat breast cancer.
Recently,
what?
yeah, she
Yes.
run the bell at
Wow.
the school, so we did a big
Yes.
celebration. She was
Wow.
on the Today Show.
Yeah.
They honored her and
Amen.
featured her, but her whole journey, 60 plus years in education, when teaching,
Yeah.
when the time it was segregated to now,
Wow, wow,
and
Right.
wow.
still being here leading our students and scholars is extremely important to us. Just her
Wow.
legacy of
That's
who she is,
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Amen.
So when you think about, as we have the conversation of how faith has impacted being such a young person, how do you see it actually resonate for you? How has faith impacted you and carried you?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, for me, I always did see things differently from a younger age. And not just because of my calling or not just because I would never thought I would be an ordained minister at 15, 16,
Boy.
but it has really taught me to trust and to ultimately not allow people to change or alter my thinking. Like I know what I believe and I believe what I know. And a lot of people
Amen.
haven't understood that yet, and that became a lot. It became a lot because a lot of people couldn't make that connection with me or understand that about me, so it became kind of like a deteriorating thing from
Mm.
people, and people wouldn't understand it, and I'd be like, well, this is just how I am.
Ken, I definitely have to uplift you in this moment. A lot of people might not be aware, but I'm aware.
Yeah.
I definitely want to thank you for being here today as you and your family go through some loss. But I definitely want to keep encouraging you, and just your
Mm.
strength is resonating now,
Yeah.
right? And I don't, and it
Mm.
shows that your faith and your belief, just for you even be here today and be back at school with everything your family is going through, is a testimony to who you are.
Thank
So
you.
it goes to show you just how strong you are as an individual, and definitely we lifting you up in prayer and your family in prayer. And I got to
Thank
say that
you.
because when we saw each other this morning, we embraced, and I was thanking you for
Yeah.
being here. But it goes to show you the strength,
Thank you.
right, in the prayer that we definitely would be there for you as you experience the loss.
Thank
All right. But it's important to understand that as we try to inspire the city, that our students deserve more. Our students deserve hope and opportunities. And it's kind of why we are creating these opportunities and
Yeah.
why we try to give everybody to talk to us after they talk to our students just to keep shining that light on our community.
Amen.
And you're definitely a person that we hope to partner with long term.
Yeah.
InspireNOLA is always here. We definitely look forward to having conversations with Mr. Major soon to
Yeah.
get both of y'all here. And anytime you're in New Orleans, whether it's you, whether it's multiple people coming together, we're always to be willing to host and continue resonating and shining some light on our students throughout the city of New Orleans. So we thank you. We
Amen.
definitely hold you up in prayer. We definitely hold you up high regard to keep inspiring the community of Los Angeles and keep inspiring nationally
you.
through
Yeah.
your efforts, through your movement and what you're
Thank
doing.
you.
So thank you.